Ladies and gentlemen, howdy and aloha. We are here, you are there, and you are now rocking with the best. Thanks for tuning in to another live episode of Airey Bros Radio. Tonight we're lacing up the spikes for the 2025 3C2A Cross Country Championships going down this Saturday, November 22nd at Woodward Park in Fresno, California. Before we get rolling, y'all know the drill. This is a value for value show. So if you're getting any value out of anything we're doing over here, please give us a little bit of value back. Click on that link, buy us coffee. Make sure you hammer that like button and are subscribed on YouTube. Drop a comment. Every view, review, and share helps us grow and give back to the sports we love. Follow us on Instagram at Airey Bros Radio. Subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. This episode is fueled by Black Sheep Endurance for all your ultra marathon and nutrition coaching needs. Let's not forget while we're here to shine a light on the coaches, programs, and athletes we wish we had access to growing up as we were going through the recruiting process. If you are a runner looking for that next level fit, you're in the right place. Share this episode with someone who you think might do them justice. Tonight's lineup, ladies and gentlemen, from 7 to 7:20, we're talking to Christopher Zepeda from Hartnell College. Then at 7:20 to 7:40, Tim Seaman from Cuyamaca College is joining us. From 7:40 to 8 o'clock, Sean Ricketts is joining us from San Diego Mesa College. And from 8 to 8:20, Maggie Shearer from Moorpark College is joining us. Okay. So again, this 3C2A is the California Junior College system. They do not participate in the NJCAA. They have their own association. So as we do over here, we're finding those coaches and those programs that are doing really well on the West Coast. So we're going to talk first to Coach Zepeda. He is one of the most consistent coaches in the 3C2A. Coach of the Year many times, architect of 14 top 3 NorCal finishes, leading the squad. And their most recent, they were third on the women's side, and the men took third as well in the NorCal region. Coach Zepeda, how are you, sir? Welcome to Airey Bros Radio.
I'm good. Just to backtrack, a little correction in there. Women are
Uh-oh.
second at Northern California. If I caught
Oh,
third in there,
sorry, my statistician
that's
was a
okay.
little off. That's all right. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we gave
Coach,
it a good run. We gave it a good run to win the women's NorCal title. Just came up a few points short, but I think we're getting ready for a big one this coming Saturday.
awesome. Go ahead, Jim. Sorry.
So how's the team looking for this upcoming weekend?
Really good. Really excited for our women. We were a pretty young squad. 6 of our 7 are technically, freshmen on paper. And so we're taking a lot of, usefulness, enthusiasm. They're kind of unsure of what this whole thing is about. The NorCal Championship was kind of a preview. And they saw that they performed pretty well. And I told them I feel like we've got a better race in them. Oftentimes with our training plan, we just need a little bit more time, a little bit more seasoning, and then we tend to perform our absolute best at the end. So I'm hoping last one, best one for our women on Saturday. Our men are opposite of that. They're sophomore heavy with only one freshman in the top 7. And so we're going to look to get him a lot of good experience as well as hopefully show him what Hartnell's all about, and then he can become the leader next year. But we just want to get in there on the men's side and perform well and gain a little bit of respect for a small college.
What is the student body population at Hartnell?
We float right around 8,000 full-time enrolled students. And so when you go to a state championship and you're up against San Diego Mesa with 29,000 and Mount Sac with 30 plus thousand, that makes a huge difference in the amount of recruitable athletes that potentially, you're able to get on campus. And sometimes even logistically, I've had athletes drive 90 minutes to come to practice. That's one way. That's not round trip. That's one direction.
Okay. Yeah, because we do a bunch of stuff with the NJCAA, and we know that some of the schools in those Division I and Division II programs have dormitories, but in the 3C2A schools, are they all commuter schools?
Not necessarily. There are some of our community colleges that are in remote rural areas where, it's much easier to just provide some housing for those students. Some have figured out a long time ago that if you have housing, you can probably get some out-of-state kids, for some of those team sports like football and basketball. Even though we are a rural community on the Central Coast, we do not have dorms. We are seeing some of the community colleges in our local area start to invest more of kind of like to address the housing insecurity issue at the community college level more than anything. not necessarily strictly for athletics, where you tend to see that. I was at an NJCAA school in Kansas in 2000, 2001. And I think 75% of our student body was student athletes. And, our job was to fill the dorms with student athletes. I don't even think a local kid lived in the dorms.
What school were you at in Kansas?
I was at Neosho County Community College in Chanute,
okay.
Kansas. Yeah.
Yeah, we did a Jayhawk conference
Yeah.
preview before the Jayhawk conference in the region. We had Neosho on, so
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. After you, it's always after you leave, they build the nice stadium and everything. We were down at Chanute High School with the old grinded up tire track and holes in here, there, and we made it through that year and still had some really good performances. My claim to fame is that Tyson Gay was our conference champion that year.
Okay, yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, it looks like you have a nice track and nice football field.
Yeah, we got that in December of last year. An upgrade. We were looking to, go from old grass and, an old dirt inside lane and kind of get a little bit more current. It has helped for recruiting. It's helped for, morale. Our athletes enjoy it. One thing I kind of wish I could share is I found a young man up in Santa Rosa that has found a way to do pacing lights really affordably for the community college budget. And so we were actually playing with that this last week in preparation for the state meet. So I'm able to string lights around the track and run them at a certain pace, and they can practice that, which is really cool for a community college program.
That's definitely a come up, Rich.
Yeah, I don't know if many four-year institutions have access to that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping that, if they see our Instagram or they see this guy's Instagram, that they might invest, because it's actually very affordable and it's fun to play with. You can't run it necessarily during like a bright sunny day, but if you can dim the lights down at the stadium or you want to do a night workout like we did, it's perfect.
Coach, we know every season has a story, has particular players that stand out and we should keep an eye out on. So what's this year's story and who do we need to keep an eye on?
Oh gosh, on the women's side, I've been just really impressed with our two women up in the front, Gabriela Cardenas and Crystal Madrigal. Gabriela is from a local high school, Rancho San Juan. That's actually the newest high school in Salinas. And then Crystal attends Salinas, or she attended Salinas High School, which is technically the oldest high school in Salinas. But they have really kind of emerged as our leaders by performance. Crystal had been kind of injury riddled in high school. And, one of the things that I had talked to her about in recruiting was that I'm a very individualized training program type of coach. And, I really just wanted to give her the Hartnell experience and see what we can kind of get out of it performance-wise. I didn't really have any expectations. And for her to finish all NorCal in her first year really highlights her ability to kind of respond to my coaching style, but that also too, she's, really finding enjoyment in it, which is great. It's one of the things I want. And then Gabriella's just been always very enthusiastic about running. Her coach never had to worry about her training or anything like that. But kind of felt like she needed the extra little push and to kind of get into our program to play to her strengths. And so I have her training with the men, when I can, and that's really helped her develop into our best freshman, and she's run some of the best times we've had. So, but they're just, two of our 6 freshmen, obviously, and but they have performed really well in their first year, and I'm really excited to see what they do with their first state championship. On the men's side, I think, in regards to highlighting athletes, Alvaro Ruelas, who's a North Monterey County grad out of Castroville, he's just been one that ever since I talked to his high school coach, he's like, this is the kid you need. He'll listen to you. He loves running. And for him to develop as he has into a 2-time All-Northern California runner and prepping hopefully for an all-state finish, maybe even surprise. I don't know. The way he's been training this last couple of weeks, I really wouldn't put, even All-American past him. I think he's just one of those stories where, you don't get recruited in high school, except maybe by me. And we turn you into that marquee runner that, some of these 4-year institutions would love to have as well, when it's all said and done in 2 years. But we have, a story for every kid, especially on the line. I've got kids that drive 45 miles from Greenfield that are part of our top 7. One didn't have a healthy cross country season at all during high school. The other, didn't come to the sport till a little bit later. And, he looks like he can, he could be really good, especially if he keeps going after Hartnell. But, sometimes these kids just need a little bit more time. But yeah, there's a story for every single athlete on our team. But, I definitely would like to kind of highlight those 3 for sure.
Coach, you mentioned athletes driving 45 minutes, some as far as 90 minutes at times. I'm assuming that's because of the reputation of the program, and as you as a coach, not necessarily that there's not another community college closer to them.
Well,
Correct?
I think, even, Hartnell College has satellite campuses in our rural communities. They don't have to necessarily, drive all the way to Salinas from Greenfield or King City or, where my young man was, the 90 minutes, Bryson, Hesperia. But they love the sport and they realize they're going to have to make some sacrifices. That might mean getting up at 5:30. It might mean picking up their teammate in their community. It might mean riding the bus. Our local bus system does run from, the whole county. 90 miles in length. But it really does come down to that they don't feel like they're done in the sport. And because, they know, I'm going to have their back for 2 years. We're going to provide them with some great opportunities and memories. And what I always say is, like, we're such a big county that if I can get those really good runners from all these high schools across our entire county, we're basically the all-star team of the county. And I really want the state to see what Monterey County has to offer in regards to athletic ability. And, that's what Hartnell is. We always say we have heart in Hartnell. And when it comes time to these races like Saturday, we have to show how big it is because we are small.
And talking about Saturday, have you guys seen the course at all this season at Woodward?
Yeah, we went to the Clovis Crush Invitational back in September. I felt like we prepared really well for what we had up to that point. I was really calling on the sophomores to lead us, and our freshman Giovanni Ochoa from Gonzales did a really good job right out of the gates. So we were there in September. With women, I knew, even though we had kind of placed pretty well, I was like, gosh, we're not even in close to as good a shape as we could be. And, give me 12 more weeks and, I'll make some magic happen. And I feel like that's where we're at. And then, with Northern California Championship there last week on the 7th, that was the first time in 30 years that we've had the regional championship on the same course. And then I really appreciate CJ Albertson. Not only hosts the state championship and he hosts that early season state preview, but when I had kind of proposed the idea, like, hey, we're down to only a few courses that, we can have this NorCal championship at. How do you feel about, adding another meet onto your plate, right? Another day you're setting up flags and, chalking the course and whatnot. And he said he didn't mind. And obviously for him, he's thinking Clovis, it's great. It's a home meet. I don't have to drive anywhere. I don't have to stay in a hotel. But I really felt like it helped us prep for this meet. So this will be our third run on the course. And I'm hoping it really helps us versus the Southern California schools.
How is the course?
So it has a lot of tradition. A lot of our high school kids, if they had high school programs that went over for Clovis Invitational or the Rough Rider, which are a couple mid-year meets for the high schools, they get the 5K version. It's a kind of a lasso lollipop type of thing. So you go out the first mile, you do a little cross. I call it. There's really only 1 mile cross country there, and it's in the middle. For the guys, it's a 2 mile cross country run, and then you're repeating the first mile, which is pretty fast. So it's hard packed dirt, kind of a little bit rolling hills, a little bit of grass here through a picnic area, but for the most part, it runs solid. It runs pretty quick. You saw I think the Harriman kid went low 14 minutes there for the high school course. If you can run under 18 minutes, then you got a good shot for a community college women to be the state champion. There's only been about 5 or 6 guys that ever averaged under 5 minutes on that course. And I feel like that kind of correlates to you're in 14:30, track shape or faster, or you're definitely like a sub 31 minute 10K type person to be able to run 4 or 5 minute miles in a row on cross country surface. So it's pretty fair. We're not going to see the snow and stuff they saw at the NJCAA. I think the one thing we've run into in some years is, we'll get this. Unfortunately, it gets really dry in California that a fire could hit, the Yosemite area and the air quality could get pretty bad. But last year we did have pouring rain, which was the first in my whole tenure of 20 years that I've ever seen anything like that. But for the most part, the weather is pretty fair and pretty fast.
Coach, when it comes to Saturday, what's the game plan? You looking for that low stick or you looking for the gap on both sides?
Well, on our women's side, we run really, really well 3 to 7. And so I'm kind of looking at San Diego Mesa, I'm looking at Orange Coast, and I'm looking at kind of how we've trained. I'm like, can we get, our 7th runner in front of their 5th? Can we get our low sticks and Gabriella and Crystal up there, to pull some surprises? Obviously, you can't control, what other teams do, but if, we got a little bit of luck from somebody else, maybe the cards play right and we finish as one of the top 5 teams on the women's side. We have a meet program and they list the top 5 teams every single year and the top 5 individuals. And I always tell these kids, you can leave your mark by putting your name as a team in there at least. So for, perpetuity forever, they pull it open for 2025, they see Hartnell women top 5 up there with the big schools, and same thing on the men's side. We know in the men's side, we need to get up and be more aggressive through 3 miles. Not much changes in the last mile, except maybe for the win or, 1 or 2 spots for those All-American or All-State spots. But, the real team contenders are going to get out pretty hard for the first 3 miles, and we need to get in there and be competitive. We let off the gas a little bit in mile 3 and let Clovis get away from us in American River. And so we're going to try to be more aggressive on Saturday.
You said this is going to be the 3rd time that the team has competed there this season. Do you feel that the kids have a good grasp of the course, where to make their moves and where it's going to get tough?
Yeah, the first time we went for the women, I was like, you got to treat it kind of like a 2-mile race. We're not in shape yet. I felt like they did a pretty good job for where we were at. They did, get out pretty aggressively. But we definitely weren't in shape yet. The times weren't super spectacular or anything like that. We just ran pretty well as a group. When we went back for NorCal's, we probably could have run harder. Crystal and Gabby probably did the best at treating it like a track race for 2 miles. And so I'm trying to get those other 3 to 7 to be more aggressive. On the guy side, we know this is now or never, and we just got to go for it. Yeah, I think as we've used each one of these for experience, we try to knock down those insecurities or those self-doubts and realize that we're running out of opportunities, and there's nothing wrong with if we just give it a shot and hopefully see what happens.
Being that the men run 4 miles over 8K or 10K, does it get out pretty fast on the men's side?
Yeah, it depends. Our NorCal regional went out at 4:45, which, I think opened up some eyes. We had 3 that broke away from the group, and with Stefan Chapdelaine of Butte, pulling away all the way for the title. But, I anticipate that it'll be, in that 450 to 458 range. A lot of moves don't really occur until mile 3, but again, because it's a course where there's not really cross country until the 3rd mile, that people want to get up over the difficult hill on the 2nd loop, and then, get to the 3-mile mark before everybody else does. So, but yeah, it'll get out fair. On the women's side, you'll probably see in the low 440 or 540s for the mile. I anticipate the way the Moorpark girls running. I'm sure Maggie's coming on, and later I saw they're prepping their athletes really well. We'll probably see a 540 opening mile, maybe even 530 something with probably a winning time in the 1740s or 1750s. That's usually good for the win.
And from a awards perspective, you mentioned All-State, All-American. Is there first team, second team type top?
Yeah,
top 7 or 8 through 14?
The way our association runs it is 1st through 14th is All-American.
Okay.
And then which is also first team All-State, and then 15 to 28th place is second team All-State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coach, you said prior when you first hopped on that you coached at a school in Kansas in the NJCAA, and you're in the California system now. What do you think, and for our audience and for us, what do you think the biggest differences are?
Well, you look at our roster, it's, all kids from my local area. You go on an NJCAA roster, you're going to see an international, roster there with the sprinkling of, Kansas kid or Iowa kid. We don't offer athletic scholarships whatsoever. Whereas over there, you have that ability to bring in, someone from international and take care of all their needs and get them onto the 4-year level. Obviously, racing wise, distance wise, race a little bit further. But I think when we have a national track and field list performance wise, I've had some athletes be in the top 3 to 5 nationally versus NJCAA athletes. And so what I always, talk with my recruits about is, I'm a full-time instructor here at Hartnell. I'm a teacher first and a coach second, that I'm here for 2 years to teach them how to be a better runner. I know that they're not coming in knowing everything. Whereas maybe you see at the NJCAA level, you got some really talented, international athletes coming in that probably could have gone to Division I right, out of the gates, but maybe they're missing their TOEFL or units or whatever, and they only need to be there a year. My kids are, the local kid down the highway that ran 10:20 for 2 miles and, maybe 13 minutes for the girls 2 mile, and I got to make them better, and I got to, get them on the stage.
When it comes to recruiting, do you think there's any difference, or do you think times don't lie?
In regards to recruiting, I would hate to, and I've done it. I've done the international phone call with a girl in Poland, and I got a girl in Mexico that's curious about Hartnell, but we get to the point of where it's like, yeah, I don't have any money for you. You're going to have to figure out how to support yourself while you're here. I can coach you up for sure. My local kids, I definitely make it a point to reach out to every single high school senior that I possibly can in our local high school leagues and our tri-county leagues. On my list, I've got 35 or 36 guys that I've talked to this fall, and 25 girls on my list. All with the hope of I don't know what, 5 show up, sign up for school in the fall time for the women, and maybe I get 10 guys on the side, on the men's side. But it'd be pretty challenging to be on the phone at different hours, international hours and stuff like that. I do have a phone call with a kid in Hawaii tomorrow, which we're trying to coordinate 3 hours, I guess, 3 hours Hawaii time to California time. But, I've done that a couple times, which is not too bad.
That's one of the things we hear a lot when we talk to the NGCA coaches. It's can be a high turnover rate where, sometimes they're not getting kids for 2 years. They're coming in, they're going out. Are your kids coming in and they're staying for 2 years?
Yeah, that's I think the good thing is that California Community College is we're really focused on making sure kids finish their associate degree. We have the transfer to a lot of the California State University system schools or University of California, and the degree requirement for that, the courses that they need to take usually takes about 2 years. But the athlete that does want to not be in California, yeah, like we could definitely get him out in a year if we want. We had a state decathlon champion, and he did 1 year for us and went to the University of Indiana right after a year. He didn't finish his AA here or anything like that, but the goal was to get to Division I. So I think in terms of the turnover rate, like we're not turning him over that fast to Division I, but we are turning him over to get out of here in 2 years. That's the goal. But that oftentimes we're trying to make up the performance so that they can keep running and get recognized and go on to a good 4-year program.
You have a good amount of athletes that go on to 4-year programs to run?
Yeah. I feel like that's something that we've done pretty well in my tenure. I've got a wall of fame. You can't see it behind me. That's up on the wall, but I've had, kids that have transferred to NAIA Division I, Division II schools that have made national champions. One of my kids, Esteban Reyes, is at Western Colorado, and he'll be at the national championship in the Division II meet. He just finished 18th at the South Central region for them and has done really well. But he was our California Community College 1500 meter champion. And then going back a few years, I don't know if you remember the name Christian Serratos, but he was pretty hot on flow track there for a hot minute. He's teaching and coaching locally here, but he went on to finishing runner up to Edward Cheserick of Oregon in the indoor mile. So we're just a little old school that if we can find those kids that are super motivated that want to train, and I always tell them I'll give you the big bowl to grow in as much as you can.
Coach, is there anything about Hartnell, the school, the team that we haven't covered that you want our audience to know?
I think the fun part of us is, we're from a rural agricultural area. I literally can, go a half mile down the road and I can be in the fields and I can help some workers pick some lettuce and strawberries. These are kids that come from hardworking families. Many of their parents don't have a college education, so they're first in family. They're changing the narrative of their family and their future generations. We're very much like the McFarland story. We're out there, running in the fields, or we're out there just making it work. I've got kids that I don't see because they pick in the summertime and then they show up first week of school. But that when we do start to compete, that's what they really would like to do more of. They would love to run more, and so we try to make up the time during the season. But we're definitely the McFarland of all the community colleges in California.
Great movie.
Coach, thank you so much for your time this evening. Best of luck on Saturday. Will it be streaming anywhere?
No, unfortunately, that's good. Wherever this is at, hopefully they'll see this. I've been a big advocate of trying to get our community college state championship streamed in some capacity, whether it's through HD runners or just guerrilla style with a bunch of phones out there, and at least edit it so that people who are interested in California Community College cross country can watch our state championship. It is our grandest meet of the year, and we have some excellent, athletes across all programs. You're gonna, talk to, Maggie about Tommy and Maya, and you have Sean with Isla, and with Luciano. Obviously, I'm grateful for talking to me, but hopefully in the future we can get that going, and so nationally people can know what's happening in California. Us in the NWAC, we tend to get stuck kind of doing our own thing, but we need to make ourselves more visible. So I appreciate that question, and hopefully people hear that there is an interest in knowing what we're doing at our level in California.
Well, we will be following the live results. Best of luck, and thank you so much for your time this evening.
Yeah, guys, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate this. California Community College hides in the shadows, and thanks for bringing us out into the light with us.
Yeah, absolutely. We are, Jimmy and I are both NJCAA All-Americans, myself in cross country and Jimmy in wrestling. So the junior college experience is something that's near and dear to our heart. And, we've known about the 3C2A for a while. We just found out about the NWAC like last week or the week before. I was trying to figure out where's Lane and some of those other schools. I realized they have their own thing now. So we're digging in. We're doing our best to promote the junior colleges all across the country. So we appreciate you spending some time with us, filling us in about the program and yourself. And best of luck Saturday.
Yeah, thanks again for including me. I appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely. Have a great night, Coach.
Bye.
Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, next up is Tim Seaman from Cuyamaca College.
Hey, Coach.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today. How is the season going so far?
Really good. Guys are training really well, getting psyched up for Fresno in a couple days, and really looking forward to it. We like the David versus Goliath mantra, and we are the small tiny school that's David. So good stuff.
Have you guys been able to preview the course at all this season?
Not this year, but the sophomores have all been there, and even my freshmen, they competed in Fresno in high school. So they are very, very they're very much looking forward to going back and competing.
Okay. Does the state championship course location change year to year?
It has not since I've been 16 years at Cuyamaca, and it's changed. It hasn't changed once. They haven't changed the course. I think it's about 30 to 40 years. They've kept the same course. So I really, in cross country, you can't really keep a list of school records. It's kind of hit and miss, right? Yeah. But in Fresno, you can have a list, right? Because everybody has the same conditions. Everybody has the same course. So it's nice to be able to go and, the guys can compare against the previous sort of generations of athletes.
Absolutely. It's good to have that history.
Yep.
Coach, who are some of the athletes we need to keep an eye on going into the championship on Saturday?
Yeah, so Ivan Guzman is going to be the favorite from our team. He won the conference meet. He won Golden West. He was top community college guy at Riverside. He finished 10th at regionals, and it was a very relaxed 10th, which was the purpose. The only purpose of regionals is a qualifying race. So none of the guys took it as we have to get hyped up. We have to get excited. So Ivan is the leader of the group. Steven Valadez ran 25:05 for 8K earlier in the year at Riverside. So really excited for what he can do at 4 miles. At 4 miles, yep. Daniel Vestamine, top freshman we have. He's running really strong, ran 20:43 at Liberty Station. And then next up is Dominic Rizzo from Steel Canyon High School. He is a championship runner, so looking forward to him. Orlando is up next for us, freshman out of Granite Hills. He's coming around really good, looking to break 21 minutes. And then, you have Dason, our sophomore, and Adon, a freshman, coming in 7th. So really good, diverse team. And they're all pretty psyched about competing on Saturday.
Coach, you said that the team was kind of relaxed, just qualify at the regional meet, don't go in there guns blazing. How do you keep them not getting overexcited in a meet like that to just kind of go and do the job and not overextend themselves?
Part of it is we explained to them that the top 16 teams qualified, okay? Previously, when we competed at the Manny Batista meet, we placed 11th with kind of like the B team, if you will. So I knew that we were, even with the B team, we placed 11th. With the top guys, I thought we could, run kind of relaxed and not hammer it home. For example, Steven let 12 people pass him the last mile. That will never happen, right? Like he was told specifically by our coaching staff, like just relax the last mile. He took it a little bit too much to heart. He relaxed a little bit too much, scared me a little bit because I could see the results coming in, and we're on the podium, first time ever at regionals. And all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys past him, 50 meters to go. I'm like, holy cow, what just happened here? Did we relax him too much? But it ended up perfect. We got third at regionals, which was a big, big deal for our little program. And now we're hoping to score a podium spot in Fresno.
Coach, you mentioned getting third at regionals, and if I'm correct, when I was looking at the rankings, the October 6th rankings, you guys were ranked second. Were you concerned about that at all, or again, it was just a qualifier and it didn't matter, and rankings don't matter?
Rankings don't matter. Like when the rankings came out, I knew the guys would hear about it. So on the Monday meeting, I said, guys, here's the deal. Everybody, take your hand and pat yourselves in the back. Go like this, everybody, smile. And then I want you to forget about it, because rankings are great. They're fun. It's for the coaches. It's not for the actual results, right? So ranking is fun to be ranked, but really what matters most is what's going to happen in Fresno at the finish line. And that's all that we really care about. They've known for the whole season, Fresno is the goal. And like I told them, Fresno makes you legendary. So that's the great thing about this.
What's it going to take to be legendary in Fresno?
I think it's going to take 4 to 5 guys under 21 minutes. So I think that's, it's going to take people coming through. I told them, they don't have to have gold medal races. Okay. What I mean by that is they don't have to go, I have to be great. No, you have to run a solid race. If you run a solid race, you'll come through, you'll finish strong. And that's where the overall results are going to come. It's when somebody thinks the number 2 and number 3 guy, like, I have to, the team is counting on me, I have to have a great race, that person is going from 2 to 6. And then we're off the podium. If the number 2 guy on the team is 6 man, we're off. And because it's going to be very, very close. We think there's about 8 teams that have a shot at the 3 podium spots. And we respect the other teams greatly. Many of the other coaches are my very good friends. And, we're just looking forward to trying to show that David can beat Goliath every once in a while.
Coach, it's funny hearing you say that. I can remember back when I was coaching cross country in New Jersey, and we were one of the top ranked teams in the sectional that we were in. And I think it was either my 3rd or 4th man, he thought he was going to be the guy that he was going to be the hero for the team that day, and he did the same thing. Ended up being like the 6th or 7th man, and
you just put your head down. You're like, why today? Today isn't the day for you'll have greatness if you just run smart. You finish strong, run smart. The team is going to do great. I'm really confident how they were doing. We had a workout the other day, 1,600, 1,200, 800, 400. And the guys ran 4:30 the first mile, and they were relaxed. And one guy was like, Coach, that's beat my high school PR. I go, you're not in high school anymore, kid. Just stay relaxed. And so it was a really good day. We're really looking forward to, showing the big boys what the little tiny school can do.
Talking to the tiny school, what's the population?
Officially, it's around 9,000, but I mean, it's probably closer to 6, as opposed to, Mesa's probably over 30, Mount Sac is over 50, Cerritos is going to be over 30, Riverside's over 30. So, these are big giant schools. They're 4 or 5 times, 10 times the size of it, 9 times the size of us. So we're just trying to do the best we can, and we're all really looking forward to it.
And are most of the athletes local region, to your
100%. Yeah. All guys that can technically run to the school. Oh. And so we've just, even the East County coaches in San Diego, the East County Grossmont League, we've said, like, listen, we don't need to recruit from over there, over there. Let's just keep the strength in the area, right? We have enough talent. Let's just believe in East County runners, kind of like Coach Larson used to do. Coach Larson, Bob Larson, was at Monte Vista High School, and he had like 7 or 8 guys that could run under 2 minutes in high school for the 800, right? So he took that success, went to Grossmont College, won multiple state championships at the community college level with Grossmont. Then he went to UCLA, was great there, Coach Meb. And so we're just trying to have that like as an attitude, like, hey, Coach Larson could do it, we could do it.
And you know, sorry, Jim, where Jimmy and I are from in New Jersey, we're both junior college All-Americans in New Jersey, Jimmy in wrestling, myself in cross country. We always talk about it when we talk to the NJCAA coaches about the stigma in New Jersey of coming out of high school and going to a community college or a junior college. And that's not the case in places like Kansas, Iowa, Texas, some of these other states that have powerful systems. Is that similar in the California system as well?
It is. And here's what I could tell you is that the guidance counselors and everybody will poo-poo down on community colleges, but 50% of the students will go to community college, right? Community college is free for the first 2 years, basically, in California. You're a genius if you come to community college for free. Why would you want to strap yourself for 20 plus years with a student loan when you can go to school for free for 2 years? I think it's $17.50. Okay, whatever, right? It's basically free. And so you take these kids that are smart. Most of the guys on the top 7, they have high GPAs, and I think 3 of them want to be engineers, electrical engineers. It's great to see that kind of dedication. You know, we've had people come out of school and go to law school. We've had people come out of Cuyamaca and go to be a chiropractor, you know? And so there's great diversification you can come out with from community college, and you just saved yourself $30,000 to $60,000, as you guys know. Yeah. Except in Jersey, it's not free.
No.
compared to California. And I'm from Long Island, so that's why I just said Jersey instead of New Jersey.
There you go. There you go. Coach, I want to double check my stats, but were you a 2-time Olympian?
I was. I competed in the race walk event, was my specialty. So I held 10 American records, 47 national championships. I am the winningest athlete in any event in the sport of track and field indoors. I won 14 indoor championships, including 10 in a row. So competing in the Garden, my PR in the mile race walk, for whatever that means, was from Madison Square Garden. The Millrose Games, 5:46 for the mile. Damn. And so my 5K PR is 19:09. So we have a young lady competing. She ran 19:11. And her big goal is, in Fresno, Marcel wants to run under 19:09 so she could say, Coach, I was faster than you were. So that's a good spin on things. So as you guys know, race walking was a high school event for the men on Long Island.
Yeah.
And it still is for the women in New York State. And that's why many of our Olympic athletes in the race walk event come from New York.
Well, Coach, we're going to go down a wormhole here because our dad was a race walker. He went to the Olympic Training Center back in, I don't know, was it the 60s, Rich? 70s?
70s,
something
late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, and he did the Melrose Mile
Oh.
back in the day. Always used to talk to us about Ronald Aird.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the name Elliot Denman?
Of course. Elliot's a legend in all of track and field. Forget just race walking, 1956 Olympian, but great writer and just a great advocate for all of track and field. Great man.
Yeah, we've known Elliot since we were
a little
kids. So
yep.
After I ran the Leadville 100 back in 2014, the first time, he was then trying. He's like, we could use race walkers.
Exactly. Well, the funny thing is, at the end of cross country season, everybody has to try race walking across the board. Teach them a little bit how to do it. This is how we call it build a race walker. And I teach them, hey, this is how you race walk. Everybody has to try it for one lap just to get a respect for the event in the sport of track and field. Because people will say, oh, you were a race walk Olympian? No. I was a track and field Olympian. My event was the race walk event. And so, I just try and get that chip going so that way everybody has a chance to see. And currently the top two ranked race walkers in the country, Nick Christie and Emmanuel Corvera, both came through my program.
Oh, cool.
Right? So that's pretty cool that a small community college, can produce national level guys. At one point in time, we actually swept the podium at indoor nationals. Nick, Emmanuel, and Alex Bellavance swept the podium. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. So everybody tries it. And
How
actually,
far?
Stephen Valadez, sorry to cut you off. Stephen Valadez, my number 2 race runner, he was the U20 champion 2 years ago in the race walk event. He redshirted his freshman year of track. He ran cross. I showed it to him. He goes, Coach, I think I want to try this. I said, sure. So he tried race walking. He was a junior champion. And yeah. So I said, hey, post college, but let's get through Fresno first.
Yeah. Well, it's an event in the NAI as well.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
there's opportunities there for sure. Did
Yep.
you do the things like the 50K? Did you go up that high in distance?
I did. I
Yeah.
did. My last Olympic trials, I competed in 50K and then 20K in 2012, and I was second in both. So I missed the Olympic team in 2012, but it was a big, big battle between myself and John on that 50K. And 50K is hard. It's 4+ hours, just nonstop movement. My
Yeah.
better event was the shorter stuff. So 20K was the short one,
Yeah.
the sprint event.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Coach, do you feel being a 2-time Olympian, the kids tend to listen to you and buy in a little bit quicker?
I think we can have, between myself and Tom Hunt, both of us have this like understanding of the high level stuff, right? And I've coached 5 people to the Olympic team. I'm not going to get carried away over the Cuyamaca invite in August. It's not going to happen, right? So we have a bigger picture, but you can also rationalize like the state championship is a big deal. You only get 2 chances at the community college level to be on a state championship team. And so I think we can have this greater understanding of the big picture, but we can also have an understanding of, it's really cool to see a guy break 5 minutes for the mile for the first time. And so you have that sort of balance. So I think that's a good way to, I don't know if they listen to me more, but we just give kids an opportunity. You can, hey, we've been, between Tom and I, we've been all over the world training and coaching and it's fun, but let's get down to, we love our job. We love what we do. Neither one of us are leaving Cuyamaca, and we just want to help the kids. It's fun to see a kid break 5 minutes for the mile for the first time, for example.
Coach, you said this Saturday is going to be David versus Goliath. What is the identity of this year's team?
Oh, it's David. Ivan was a former boxer. Okay, so I call him Little Rocky, and he is a fighter. And at the conference meet, for example, there was some shoving going on, and I said, I heard about it after the race, and there was just some, right, normal cross country smack talking, right, in the group. And I said, Ivan, you didn't do anything, right? He goes, no, coach. I held my tongue. I just moved out of the way, and I didn't do anything. I was like, okay, let's be respectful to everybody, and let's, but he has that inner fight. He has that little Rocky in him that he's a fighter, and he knows when it comes down to that last mile, he's going to be ready to go. And I'm going to put him up against everybody in the state the last mile.
Coach, Jimmy and I both lived in North County, San Diego for a while as well, too. I'm familiar with the Cuyamaca 100K. Is that in your general vicinity? Do you guys train on those terrains at all or no?
No, the Cuyamaca. So it's unfortunate that we're called Cuyamaca College because we all joke we should be called Mount Helix College because that's like the area we're in. But the Cuyamacas are another 40 or 30 miles east of us.
Okay.
So we're really close to the end of the 94 before it goes to Hamul. So I joke like I was downtown the other day and it took 12 minutes to get from downtown to Cuyamaca. But if you're downtown, you don't know where Cuyamaca College is. It's like, oh, that's so way out there. It's not way out there. It's 12 minutes away.
Okay. Interesting.
Yep. So,
Coach, how are you on time?
I'm good.
All right. No, our next guest had an emergency come up. So we have an extra 20 minutes if you would like to
Oh,
stay with us.
okay. Sounds good.
So, Coach, being being that David versus Goliath team, do the kids have a chip on their shoulder?
No, no, we don't. They are they just want to be the ones to be legendary. And they understand, like, we won conference, we get a banner on the wall. And I said, that's great. The banner, that's good for the other people. But if you want to be legendary, you gotta perform in Fresno. And so last year it was very muddy and raining and wet and sloppy. And the guys we weren't prepared for it. And we had like one of our worst finishes ever under my coaching. And it was discouraging. We regrouped and now we're ready to go. Like if it's rainy and muddy, we're going to be ready. And if it's perfect conditions, we're going to be ready. And I think that, you know, I told them I want them to be inwardly confident, but not outwardly arrogant. There's no need to be outwardly arrogant, right? Because there's 8 teams that could win. And so I want to be very respectful, but I also want them, when the gun goes off and we hit 2.5, 3 miles, I want them to start fighting at that point. But for then, otherwise just sitting there cruising, controlled, no fighting early.
So you mentioned the rainy conditions and the mud, and I don't know if you got to see the NJCAA, what their conditions were this year. As a coach, how do you, because I've heard a lot of coaches say, "Oh, I didn't have them prepare." How do you prepare someone for that? How do you get them ready? Like, what do you do for that?
Yeah. So a couple things. So the NJCC, that was pretty unique to see them all run on snow like that. And there's a difference between cross country in California and cross country in the Midwest. Cross country in the Midwest, you can wear spikes, right? Cross country in California, you can't wear spikes because inevitably you're going on some sort of cement. Inevitably. In Fresno, they run 50 meters, then they got to go down the curb. They got to go down a curb, run on the road a little bit for about another 80 meters, then they got to pump up the curb and go on the dirt. And the dirt is brilliant, but that transition point from the dirt to the asphalt is a little bit scary, a little bit sketchy. I really wish they would, you know, make that one area just all dirt, remove a couple parking spots and call it good. But that's the parks up there. But yeah, I mean, I think mentally because of the issue last year, they're going to be a little bit more prepared. And these guys are all stronger. They're just so close together as a close-knit group. They're like really good friends and they understand like the brothers are going to bond and they're going to bond and they're going to go together. If they're all going to, they want to succeed together. And it's really cool to see how they've gelled. At the beginning of the season, you got freshmen, you got new guys, you got sophomores. One sophomore thinks he's better than another sophomore and da-da-da. And then you're like, wait, this is just us. It's just us, guys. We're all here together for the same purpose. And, we want to transfer the sophomores out, and they know that this is going to help them to make it out.
Coach, would you get those guys to transfer out and move on? Are they moving on and continuing with their running careers?
They are. We are actively talking to CBU for Ivan. So he's really looking forward to it. He just got into the school academically already. So that was really good. Steven is looking at CSUN, Cal State University Northridge. So that's a D1 program. And the coach and I had a great conversation about trying to recruit more community college kids to his program. So trying to help them understand, like, the 4-year schools could take a 425 miler, but the 425 miler isn't going to help them in cross country. So you see some of these schools, they take 425 milers. If they stayed with us, we can get them strong enough in 2 years so they can have a powerful impact on a 4-year program. But you take a 425 miler, which is good. I'm not critiquing it, but many 4-year programs, it's not going to help them. So give us a chance to develop these athletes so that we can then transfer them back to you or transfer them to you, and they'll have a much higher success rate at a 4-year level. So, and then Marcel, she's looking at she just got in academically to UC Santa Cruz. So really excited about that. I still have to reach out to the coach now that she got accepted into the school and see all of that. But we just want to give the kids all options. All options for school should be on the table. And the Southern California kids, they're not real keen on leaving too far, you know? So, I mean, we have many schools with St. Mary's in Kansas. We have good relationship with just other schools out there. And they call me all the time, like, got any guys? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, these guys aren't going to leave. You know, they're not going to, that's just how it is. So, but that's okay. We're looking forward to hopefully next year. I want to try and take them to Kenosha, to University of Wisconsin Parkside, where D2 Nationals is going to be. I went to that school and I'm in the Hall of Fame there, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm really like want to take the boys to a big, like a real Midwest cross country course.
Awesome. Well, it's funny you mentioned Parkside because Coach Nick Becker, he's the wrestling coach there. We've had him on, and they had an athlete, Caden Henschel, who is very influential in as a social media personality for the wrestling team. Quite a big following. So it's funny to have all these small world connections with the East Coast, and we also have had Coach Benton on from St. Mary's, and having lived in North County, San Diego, I don't blame kids and maybe not want to go to Leavenworth, Kansas.
With that said, my first All-American did go to St. Mary's when Coach Dominguez started the program. He was my first All-American, and then he was St. Mary's first All-American in steeplechase. So we have sent people there, and different coaching, but they still do a great job of developing athletes. And I like to see that. Nobody wants to see the program that gets really good athletes in, but they just maintain. You know, like we had a kid who's my assistant coach, my volunteer assistant coach now, Matthew Mesa. Matthew was a 452, 453 miler in high school. We transferred him out as a 4-flat 1,500 meter runner. Wow. That's a nice development, right? Kiernan was a 1945 5K runner from West Hills High School. When he left the program, he's 1530 and 5,000 on the track. So, you know, we do try and do develop them and then transfer them out.
What's the key to getting them to jump those levels like that?
A consistency of training. So we talk about trying to string together as many silver medal weeks as we can, right? Because we all know the gold medal weeks is like everything went perfect. And you're like, that's great. And there are weeks like that when you're training. But the problem is what happens the week after or 2 weeks after, right? Like many times athletes have these gold medal weeks. Let's just say they hit 80 miles and both hard workouts that week were just rock solid. And then next week they're hurt. Well, then that week was a failure. We failed, right? That was not a good idea to go that hard, that quality at that point in time. If we would have brought it down a little bit and just been a little bit slower, maybe a little bit less mileage, we could have done the same thing and repeated it, and we could have a better success at the end of the season.
Coach, you bring up that consistency of training. What does your training look like? You guys dabble into the double threshold at all?
We don't do double threshold. And I think these kids are too young for it. The kids that I'm getting, right? So I don't think they're ready for that yet. We do try and get some good quality mileage in, but it's a sort of smart mileage, right? So it's all going to depend on where you are. We've had guys that can run 19, 20 miles, right? But we've also had guys that can run 12, and they can both have the same success. It has to be very individualized. And, you know, we only go hard twice a week for the most part, right? And we're going like a Tuesday and a Friday, or a Tuesday and a Friday or Saturday race. But some programs will go Tuesday hard, Thursday hard, Saturday race. And for me, with my background, I think 3 hard days out of 5 is a little too much for 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Even at the professional level, I wasn't doing, and my athletes weren't doing 3 hard workouts a week, because I think we peak too early, and then I think you have a crash at the end of the season. And I noticed that with my training when I was doing hard, 3 times a week. And in March, nobody can touch me in the US. I was so strong. But how was August when the World Championships came around? August is what counted. July, Olympic trials. How was that? If I was struggling July and August, then March was a failure. because we pushed too hard in March, right? And so I just try and have that as the attitude of, guys, all of it's geared towards Fresno, and then you can take a break. Then we can gear towards track. But I don't want to hear the word track. Like, I don't want anybody, don't even talk to me about track, only about Fresno right now. So we just try and go 2 times a week as the harder days.
Is that how?
Go ahead, Jim.
Rich.
Go ahead.
Is that how your coaching has changed over the years?
I think so. I think we used to do 3 hard days a week, and then we just found, like, even at their young age, even though they can recover pretty quick, we have better results if we have the 2 days, let's say Tuesday as a hard day, Wednesday, Thursday as sort of zone 1 days, right? We can recover those 2 days, and then on Friday we could pop again. And then that's the hard days for the week. And then we have a long run, which is still hard, right? The long run isn't easy. So if you go Saturday or Sunday long, you're still getting 3 high quality days, right? Or a lot of stress on the body in those 3 days. And you can still get 60 to 80 to 90 miles in a week. So that's what we try and push towards them towards.
How often a week are you meeting as a team?
5 days. So Monday through Friday we meet. They go there. They do their long runs on their own, and but we are meeting 5 days a week, right?
Okay.
Like even if they have like they had a 45-minute run today, right? Like, hey, 45-minute run, we're still meeting. Like we're not skipping, because I really think that consistency, the being able to look an athlete in the eye, hey, how you feeling? How are you feeling? How are you feeling? That give and take. And we talk about, this program isn't like a dictatorship. It's not like you're going to do 5 times a mile and that's it. I don't want to hear it. Like, how are you feeling? You think 5 times a mile is good for you today? Yeah, coach, I'm feeling good. Or sometimes it's a matter of, like, one time a couple weeks ago, one of the runners, he did 4 of the 5 1200s. And after the 4th one, he goes, coach, I need a little bit more rest. I'm like, what do you need more rest for? Right? Like, you had a 400-meter jog in between. He goes, I'm just feeling a little bit over, my ankle or something. And I said, let me tell you this. Is it a 0.00001% chance that you get hurt if you do another interval? He goes, yes. I said, then you're done. Like, I am not going to take a 0.001% chance that you are going to get hurt as we're approaching into championship season. It's not worth it for me. So we really try and have that give and take, and that I want feedback from the athletes. It's very important that we, Tom and I watch them and go, okay, hey, Tom, what do you think about him? I think he needs to stop, or she needs to stop, or let's give them another interval. Sure. Like, we're going to do about 5 times a mile today, whatever. Right. And then, but some guys, hey, you're going to go 6 today. Really? Yep. Hey, you're going to go 4. That's enough for you. So that's, I think, what we try and do in our program.
Yeah. You mentioned the 2 hard days a week, and I agree with that as well. I was always a guy that zone 2 wasn't really a thing, even on my easy days. How are you? Do you have trouble reining the guys in and the gals in, or are they locked in when you say we're going, zone 1, zone 2?
Yeah, no, they're sometimes they'll get into a little half-stepping match.
Yeah.
And then I have to, like, rein them in, like, guys, you gotta, you gotta control it a little bit, right? And we had one athlete, he was a number 4 or 5 guy. He was number 5 guy. And he struggled. He pushed every easy workout he was pushing. And I said, hey, you need to slow down. Like, it's not good. You need to slow down a little bit. You need to slow down. When we went to championship season, he was struggling, and he didn't even want to compete anymore. So he had to take a bit of a break leading into championship season, because it was just not, he was just struggling. And, you look at it, who took the easy days the hardest?
Mm-hmm.
He did, right? And so the guys can see that, and they're like, coach, I told him to slow down. I'm like, we could try. You can only try your best as a coach, right? You can't tell them exactly what to do. You can't tell them what to eat, when to sleep, when to study. We just try and have just overall, that type of thing. And we also have this thing where, I said, hey, it's championship season for the guys. Don't get a girlfriend. Don't lose a girlfriend. Right? No problems, guys. Just don't get a new girlfriend. Don't try and it's not worth it. You wait till after Fresno, and then I don't care what you do. So, but stay on top of your grades.
Yes.
Coach, is there anything about the team or the college that we haven't covered that you want our audience to know?
Great group of guys. You know, they've really gelled together. We're just a bunch of like local kids. They were pretty good in high school, but not like, you know, state champions. We're not, you know, we're a small school. We're nestled in the hills of sort of El Cajon, right? So I joke that, you know, like some other schools, they have urban sprawl 360 degrees around, right? And you look out our from our track and you could see mountain over there, mountain over there. I said, we have more goats we could see virtually than almost anybody. Maybe Mount Sac because they have the farm on campus. But otherwise, you know, it's a lot of open space, you know, and we have guys that recruit, they live in Tecate, which is in Mexico. He crosses the border, right? Diego Lopez, he was All-American for us a few years ago. He would go to the border, get there at 4:30, sleep on the sidewalk. The border would open at 6. He would get woken up by the person behind him. He would cross the border, then come to school for practice at 7 a.m. I mean, these guys are fighters. That's how it is at community college. They want to do the best they can, and they know that this is their chance. And I really think that it's a great opportunity to showcase. You know, not all community college isn't about, oh, you go to community college. There's no asterisk. If you go to Harvard, you get a degree from Harvard, there's no asterisk, right? We had a 10K school record holder, Tate Graham. He said, Coach, I got into UC Davis. They're going to let me run. And I got into Berkeley. Berkeley won't even talk to me as a 32-minute 10K runner. He goes, what do you think I should do? I said, one choice. You go to Berkeley. He goes, but I can't run. I said, you're a 32-minute 10K runner. What are you going to do? Right? He's not going to get that much better where he's going to make an Olympic team. So let's be a realist about it. He went to Berkeley. He got his degree from Berkeley, and now he just graduated from law school. That's a success story, right? So I think as coaches, we don't think like only running, that's it. That's the most important thing. I think we can have a bigger picture to help the athletes.
Amen.
Man, Coach, you got me fired up. This is
Let's
a great
go. Let's go.
This was a great conversation. Thank you for going a little overtime with the Airey Bros tonight. And
Yeah.
man, I can't wait to see that David versus Goliath this Saturday. And best of luck.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Safe travels. Best of luck. We'll be rooting for you on Saturday.
Thank you. Thanks. Have a good day.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on. We have Maggie Shearer joining us from Moorpark College.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Thanks for joining us this evening. We've been we're NJCAA guys, so we're learning about the 3C2A. We're excited about it, and you guys got a great system and a championship coming up. So we're excited to hear what you guys are cooking up and how everything's looking for Saturday for you.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
So, Coach, I believe you had a male and a female win the regional championships. How has the season been, and how's it looking for Saturday?
Season's been incredible. It's been, as I'm sure other teams have said, a season of growth, some ups and downs. You have all those little challenges that happen throughout the year. But yes, I had both male and female. We had Tommy White win on the men's side and Maya Natarajan and winning on the women's side. And it was just incredible to see so much blue at the finish line in first place. So was absolutely thrilled for these two athletes. Two of the best races I've seen at this level, and just incredible to watch the growth for both of these sophomores.
So what's the momentum from those two wins going into the Saturday and with the rest of the team?
I think it was just super inspiring to the rest of the team. They saw that, both of these athletes were, they were not in the first 5 at SoCal last year or at state. So they made a big growth and a big jump from last year. So it was very inspiring for the other athletes, and I think motivating for them to see that what you can accomplish from, working hard in year one And then, all through the spring and track and in the summer and the growth into their sophomore years. So I think there's a lot of good, synergy with the team and momentum and excitement going into Saturday.
Coach, what's been the key to the level jumping from last year to this year for those two athletes?
I think it's different for both athletes. For Maya, on her side, she was an athlete who potentially wasn't even going to run in college. She was thinking about it, wasn't 100% sure, and was always one of those athletes that had potential, but just I think she didn't realize it in high school. And she came into college and she started to be able to piece some more consistency together and have that those months of training and development. And I think she gained confidence, and it was, what I'm trying to tell her, it's not the coach. You always had it in you. She always had it in her. It's just that it came out in college. So I think for her, it was more of just developing that everyday intention and that confidence that she could do a lot more than she was aware of. And then for Tommy, he was kind of a different athlete coming into college. He knew he was going to run super, had a lot of good success. But he's really grown in his maturity and how he races on the line. His patience, and that's a key factor for growth for these athletes.
Coach, who are some of the other athletes that we should be keeping an eye out for?
Oh, I think there's too many to name, but we have, and on the girls' side, freshman, there's this Dolce. She's been fantastic. She's another one didn't have a lot of mileage coming into college and has been able to put many solid weeks of training together, and from a freshman standpoint. And then the rest of the team, there's too many to mention. They're all just so good, and they put in so much hard work. We won on the men's and women's side. We won our conference, and that's something that's never been done at Moorpark College in this conference. So I'd have to say the entire team, every single person that got on the line is someone to talk about.
Coach, you mentioned this being the first time you guys have won the conference. What do you think the difference was this year?
I think that we had some hard conversations in the middle of the season, and it was athlete driven. Athletes holding each other accountable and letting each other know that how they show up is affecting each other. And it didn't come from the coaches, it came from the athletes. And when the athletes are the ones driving the culture, you've done something right in the program. So I'm really proud of them, and watching them have those hard conversations, it showed what level of maturity we have on the team, and the direction of the program is just incredible.
Were those hard conversations something wasn't clicking during the year, or was that just something they brought up organically?
It was something organically. I think, little things here and there. If someone comes in late, someone misses, an important meeting or a practice, and it's just not about them. It's about the entire team. If one person goes down, there's your training partner, right? And if someone's not showing that intensity in practice, it's not just that person. I think it shows that it's about the team. And I'm always trying to, we're always trying to tell them as coaches, hey, it's more than running. It's how you show up is how you show up in life. And you're gonna be your best version of you here, and then you're gonna go on to whatever you do, whether it's running or in corporate or family, and you're gonna show up just the same way. So best to practice and sharpen here so that you can be the best you can be later in life.
Coach, how are Tommy and Maya feeling? I guess mentally, are they feeling any like a bullseye on their back after winning regionals, or are they calm, cool, and collected as they head into Woodward on Saturday?
I think they're calm, cool, and collected. We talk a lot about being where your feet are, not thinking about yesterday, not worrying about tomorrow, appreciating today, and having gratitude for being able to get on the line and race. We talk a lot about gratitude in the program, and things that you don't have to, you get to. You get to get on the starting line. You get to train. You get to have those hard conversations. And there's certainly a lot of people that would love to be in your position. Whether they're injured or they don't have the capacity, the talent, but be here now and give it all you got, and be curious. What can you accomplish? So yeah, I think they're calm, cool, and collected.
Coach, you're making me feel good. It sounds a lot like the things I said to my kids last week as we were heading into the state championships down here in South Carolina. You know, you get to do this. Be grateful for this experience. Be grateful that you have the ability to do this, that not everyone has the ability to run at your level and to just to even to train to do anything. So I appreciate you
Absolutely.
saying that. That's
Yeah.
makes me feel good that I know what I'm doing, at least a little bit.
Well, hey, you know what? As coaches, we're always learning. And I tell the athletes that too. Hey, I'm not a perfect coach. You're not a perfect athlete, but if we can leave this season and we can make each other better, then we've accomplished our goal, right? And so always be growing.
Amen. Coach, have you guys been able to see the course at all?
Yes, we have seen the course. There's a few people that have raced it in high school. There's a few people that raced it last year, and we took a little field trip up there as well. So I think that everybody should feel confident and excited to get on the course, knowing where where the opportunities are on the course.
And I'm assuming the weather's going to be better than the NJCAA championships on last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping we don't have to swim, but hey, if we do, I think everyone has had to swim, so we'll take it as it comes.
Coach, being on the course, and obviously I don't want you to give the game plan away, but what do you think some of the tough spots are and where your runners can make the best out of it?
Yeah, I don't think it's any secret. I mean, so many schools, we all race it in high school. So I think that there's a back portion that has some hills, and it's a little bit of a no man's land, we'll call it. And I think if you can capitalize and run strong in that back part, then and kind of come out victorious out of those rolling, I'll call it the rolling hills. I think that's the opportunity back there, is just knowing that you're not alone. You've got teammates around you. You've got coaches out there. They know what they need to do. And have fun with it. I mean, I think we've been on all sorts of terrain this season. We've trained on different terrain. They know the course. So it's just about, getting on the course and executing.
As a team, are you guys concerned about that low stick, or are you focused on the gap?
I think there's a spread, but I think if everybody shows up and runs the race that they can race, we're going to have a great day.
And what does success or a great day look like? Are we keeping our eyes on the podium for Saturday?
Always.
Yeah.
I mean, as a coach, as an athlete, I mean, you're always eyeing that podium. But a great day for me, from a coach perspective, is every person getting on the line and executing the race that they're capable of on that day. The day is going to be different. We can only control what we can control. We can't control our competitors. We can't control the weather. We can't control the course. But we can all get on the course and we can run to the best of our ability and execute and with confidence. And if they all do that, then that's a great day in my book.
Coach, geographically speaking, where is Moorpark located in California?
Moorpark College is in Ventura County, and
Okay.
it's you're between LA and Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Beautiful, lots of great terrain to run on, lots of trails. You're in the Santa Monica Mountains, and just it's a beautiful climate. It's great to bring more awareness. I love that you guys are doing this, because there's so many kids that don't realize that they leave high school and they think the only option is Division I. They think they're done. And if we could just spread more awareness that they're not done, they don't have to be done. But it's a game changer getting some of those athletes. So I love, the more awareness we can spread about Moorpark College, the better.
Yeah, I'm a little familiar with you. I ran the Mountains to Beach marathons when I qualified for the Boston Marathon for the first time. So we went up there in Ojai and then ran down to Ventura. And Jimmy and I are both NJCAA All-Americans, myself in cross country, Jimmy in wrestling. So the junior college experience is something that's very near and dear to our heart. And we want people to know that there's more to continuing your athletic career. If you're a dedicated student athlete, there's schools out there for you, and sometimes the 2-year option is the best way to go. And it sounds like the price tag to the California experience is a lot cheaper than it was for the New Jersey experience. So I think if kids know that, it opens a lot of doors for them, especially from a developmental perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah. And congratulations on qualifying for Boston and all your status as well. But yeah, I agree. I think that, yeah, it's a huge doorway into other opportunities. Sometimes people don't know they are even going to be able to run at that level. So it's fantastic. Love what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Coach, what's the student population?
Oh boy, that's a good question. I'd have to look that up. I'm not sure exactly what we're at in terms of population. It's probably an easy one to check.
What surprised you most this year with the team?
I think, the growth of some of our top athletes, just from a mentality standpoint, coming in with so much intention and so much drive. An athlete I didn't get a chance to talk about was another freshman, Trent Williams from Malibu. He was eighth at SoCal, and just he's been an absolutely amazing training partner for Tommy. And he's this quiet leader. We have some of these quiet leaders on the team, and they come in and they just come in with this discipline and this consistency, and it levels up the team. So it's just incredible to watch. And with such turnover, you're losing these athletes every couple of years. You really need those leaders to bring in the next crop of freshmen. So I guess, some of the way they've come in with intention and consistency and bought into the program so quickly, that's been, surprising and gratifying, because, the sooner they buy in, obviously the more time I have to get to know them and to develop them.
It's fun when they buy in.
Absolutely.
And it's fun to have some quiet leaders. Sometimes those are the best leaders.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's lots of different personalities and many different experience levels with running and motivations, and bringing all those people together. It's quite the symphony. It's amazing.
You're definitely a conductor when you're coaching, for sure. Coach, are Tommy and Maya, have they solidified any plans for the future and for your schools?
Not yet. They're looking around. We have some coaches that are interested in them, but I think there's a lot of opportunity, but I don't think they've made any final decisions yet. So I think, and hopefully lots of coaches are out there and will be at the state meet and are keeping an eye on them. And sky's the limit for both of them. Both very intelligent, very, very good students. So just, all around great package for both of them.
Are they looking to stay within the state of California, or are they open to options outside of the state?
I think they're looking within the state of California, but I would never want to limit them. I think if a really good opportunity came their way, I'm sure they would evaluate it.
Coach, you mentioned that 2-year turnover. What do you think the success to being consistent as a team at the junior college level is?
I think it comes from the top, from all the coaches and the program philosophy. You really have to have strong leadership at the top, I think, to make sure that these kids buy in quickly, and that they, again, just they fall into the program, and then they inspire the next freshman. So I think that, as coaches, we're building a legacy here at Moorpark College, and it's all about championship habits and getting kids to buy in quickly and seeing the end goal, which is really be curious about what you can accomplish. But again, it's working together as a coaching team, and really having that philosophy and that very special one-on-one relationship with each of the athletes that I think really, drives awareness to the community, and they see, parents see it, friends see it, and they say, hey, go check out Moorpark College. Look at what these athletes are doing. They weren't even going to run in college, and look at the fire and the desire they have to run now. So I think it's starting to catch on in the community and beyond. So I think, all of that.
Coach, what's the key to getting some of those kids that didn't think they were going to run in college to run in college?
A lot of persistence in terms of conversations with the athletes. And then I think the success that we're having with the local athletes in turn is helping to raise those eyes of those athletes going, you know what, maybe I want to know what's going on at Moorpark College. But usually we get an athlete out to a couple practices and they're hooked. So I guess we're doing something right. The kids on the team, they're all just fantastic individuals. It's beyond running. They're just really, really amazing kids. And it's not just about developing runners. It's about developing just good humans.
Yeah.
And it's a team of incredible people that we get. and then their coaches see it from high school, and then they encourage their athletes, and the parents see it, and little brothers and sisters, and even going to meets at 4-year meets, other collegiate coaches. They're like, hey, you guys have something special going on at Moorpark College. And, there's us coaches that are out that are still competing, and we're going to races, and they're like, hey, tell me about Moorpark College. So it's kind of spreading, because it's just a really special place to be.
And with those kids, are they on the fence about just running in general, or is it they don't necessarily think they have the ability to run in college, or they're at that level?
Both, all of that.
Yeah.
I lost the fire. I quit track. I don't want to run anymore. I'm burnout. I was injured in high school. What's the point? I'm not going to be able to run. I'm too fast. I'm too slow. You name it. There's always an excuse. And I just, you really try to listen. I come from a corporate background, so I'm always trying to develop, what is your why? What do you want to do in life? Because no matter what it is, I guarantee being on this team is going to make you better at whatever you want to do. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody who left this program and said what we did on this team didn't make them better as a corporate professional, as in their relationships, socially, what have you.
Coach, you are speaking our language.
Well, that's good. No, I mean, hey, I think we're all trying to do the same thing, and I'm just stoked that you guys are highlighting it, because I've been trying to find a way to just show how special of a place Moorpark College is, and highlight these incredible athletes. It's just they're just amazing individuals.
Coach, I believe you're a pretty successful marathoner yourself. Do you see any future marathoners on the team?
Yeah, I mean, definitely marathoners. I've half marathoners, all of that. I think one of the things that they get to see is longevity. I'm still out competing, and I get on the line when I can, and I race, and I even joke with some of my athletes, hey, after the season, we're going to have one-on-ones, and they get to see that I'm out there working hard, and that running doesn't end in college. You can take running throughout your entire life, and it may, it ebbs and flows in terms of, what you're focused on, but it's always there for you. And I think that's another thing that I try to really stress with athletes is, it doesn't end in college. It's for many athletes, they get better after college. So it's, again, my goal isn't to make them the very best they can be at this, one moment. It's to develop them so they can go on and be the best they can be. And if that's, a year from now, 2 years from now, then great. But it's all about developing athletes, developing people.
Coach, you said you're still competitive. Do you ever drop the hammer on the kids?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, why not, right? Yeah, I mean, Maya's giving me a run for my money this year. She's getting really fast. So we joke about racing the Jingle Bell Run in a few weeks, and but yeah, no, it's yeah, I have to. It's good. They like it. I think it's fun for them to see that their coach still gets out there, and I don't get on the podium by sitting at home, just talking. I'm out there doing the hard workouts and getting to practice, 2 hours early to get my workout in, and I mean, lead by example, right?
Yeah. I always tell them I wouldn't have you do something that I haven't done or haven't already done or can't do. So
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have had Olympic level coaches, and they, so they have my relationship with my coaches has been very one-on-one, and that's how I coach, is just like a very individual approach versus kind of like this massive college system. And so I think that's a little different at Moorpark College too. They get the benefit of that from me and from, the coaching staff. So yeah, I mean, gotta test out the workouts before I give it to them.
So talking about, you're not gonna get me on this one, Jim. Talking about testing out the workouts, doing the workouts, does Moorpark dabble in the world of double threshold at all?
Maybe a little bit. I think that it's a newer, maybe we'll call it like a newer concept, and it's certainly not for everybody, but it's there, and something that a couple are going to be trying, but nothing that's big right now. Just something that we're kind of getting into.
Do you dabble in it at all?
Not really. I mean,
Yeah.
as a master's athlete, I have to be pretty careful with what I do.
I hear you.
It's so I guess I double threshold because I'm a mom,
Yeah.
and And then I coach. And so I feel that feels like a little double threshold to me, triple threshold, maybe.
Yeah, no doubt.
Coach, is there anything about Moorpark College, the team, the college itself that we haven't covered that you want our audience to know?
Well, I mean, our facility is incredible. We have a really amazing outdoor weight room and indoor weight room that's really, really cool. We have a zoo on campus, which is, I think it's the only teaching zoo in the country. And yeah, there's just the college has been ranked year after year as one of the best community colleges in the nation. So it's from an academic standpoint and athletic standpoint, it's incredible. And the support from not just the coaching staff, but athletic director and all the way to the top has been fantastic. So you feel really supported as I think an athlete and a coach and as an administrator all the way up. So yeah, it's a really neat place to be in the community.
Outdoor gym, Rich.
I'm
We're
in.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Coach, thank you so much for your time tonight. We will be watching, we'll be rooting for Moorpark this weekend, and best of luck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me and have a great evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell Tommy and Maya and everyone else we said good luck, safe travels up to Fresno, and yeah, afterwards maybe we'll get you back on here to recap it.
Sounds great. Thank you guys.
Take care, Coach. Have a great night.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Is that it for us tonight, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Well, that was fun.
That was fun. We're still alive, pal.
I know.
All right.
We're just recapping. It was a great night. Learning a little bit more about the 3C2A experience and the association, I guess it is. Excited to learn about the NWAC as well. It's a whole other world on the West Coast that I think, I know we knew about the 3C2A because of Last Chance U and just being out there and being in the NJCAA. But yeah, it seems like they got a cool thing going on. I'd be like to race a 4-mile cross country race as opposed to a 10K maybe.
Which is good to know that there's other opportunities and it doesn't have to have NCA at the end of it, right? And obviously there's a lot of community aspects of the California-based schools, but still, who's to say that you can't go and rent an apartment and go to school out in North County, San Diego, and run out there and get the best of both worlds as far as running and living in a really cool location. There's options for kids, like we say every week. There's options. You just need to know they're there. And that's why we're here. We're here finding them for you. We're here spotlighting them for you. And I hope this podcast reaches those kids like us that were looking for something like this.
Well, the thing would be to find out was how long would you have to be in California to claim residency so that you could get that $17.50 price tag?
Well,
Is it
it's
a year? Can you go for a year, live there for a year full time, and then you're a California resident, and then you get that tuition or whatever it is?
It was a year in Colorado for me.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So, and it looked like Cuyamaca had a pretty cool mascot.
Yeah.
And who doesn't like working out in a gym outside?
Yeah, and can you pronounce the first school for me? Is it
Hartnell.
Hartnell. Looked like they had a really nice track and football field too. So again, there's options out there for everyone.
Yeah. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the Airey Bros this evening. That is the 3C2A State Championship Cross Country preview. We'll be back tomorrow night where we're going to be diving back onto the wrestling mat to go belly to belly with some of the top NAIA programs and the coaches that are leading the charge in the NAIA. So we'll be back tomorrow night, same bat time, same bat channel.